So this is just a private group, Dylan, and what we're doing is we're just doing some intros, and I was telling everybody a little bit about your background. CEO of Agency Box, co-founder of Monopolize, 500,000 plus followers on your platforms. One of your specialties is Instagram, and I've gotten to know you via Entrepreneur Organization. You're EO Las Vegas. I'm here in Orange County. Been featured on Yahoo, ABC, Wealth Insider, Entrepreneur, entrepreneur.com, and worked with some of the biggest and the baddest and the best in the industry. I mentioned like Grant Cardone's and the Tony Robbins. So I'm super excited. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to, and I'm going to start again one more time, Jennifer. I'm going to go around the horn. This is just our private group, and we'll keep it in our private group per our conversation, Dylan. And then what we'll do is if I can, I'm just going to go around real quickly and get a one-word open from everybody and what they're hoping to learn. And maybe you could dial in some of the things that you're talking about, and maybe not, but they'll tell you kind of what's on their mind in terms of Instagram. And then I'm going to let you take it away, brother. So we'll start with Jennifer. One word open one more time, and one thing you're excited to learn.
Hi everyone, Jen here. I work at Kim Orthodontics. One word open is excited, and then excited to learn how to grow our Instagram, but basically how we can improve our engagement rate with our audience. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Laika.
Hi everyone, I'm Laika. I'm working for Kim Orthodontics also. So one word is interested, and I would love to know more tips for more connections with our followers and grow more audience in our Instagram. That's all. Thank you.
Excellent. Alex, business, one word open, one thing you're looking forward to learn.
Name's Alex, of course. I'm the owner and host of the Personality Movement podcast and company. And my one word open is dedicated. And I'm dedicated to growing my following on Instagram. And I'm actually, that's what I'm looking for here is just ways that I can sustainably grow my Instagram, not just, post 5 million, videos a week. It's like something that's sustainable. So that's what I hope to learn.
Nice. Bill Brent.
Hey, Scott, always good to see you. I'm most interested in, actually, let me back up a bit. My wife and I are starting a jewelry company, and primarily she's got a great niche, both subject matter experts. She is the brand, and we're concerned about the Instagram algorithm, and most specifically, short-term videos, the reels, how to reach our targeted audience. As we went to the avatar, I want to be able to reach and targets as detailed in Instagram as I can in Facebook.
Cool. Outstanding. Great, Bill. Thank you for that. And Nina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nina, and I'm working for Wayfinder PM. My word is I'm thrilled and I'm excited to learn about how we can increase our engagement and our Instagram followers.
Awesome. Very cool.
Well, with that, I'm letting one more person in, but I'll keep letting people in as they come in. But Dylan, take it away. And for Adam, who's just joining us, you're about to get your mind blown with Instagram. All right, take it away.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's good to be on here. I have an audience as well. We do calls like this and had Scott on, and my group of people were blown away with him. So I was like, I got to come and hopefully try to deliver some value. Honestly, dude, I really appreciate that. Like it was awesome. They loved it. So, that being said, I'm here to serve. I love the EO style intro. We learned that at EO, and it's really great. It's a way to structure things. I do have some slides I prepared to kind of go through some core stuff that I want to share with you guys. And then I think we'll open it up to some questions at the end. I did take notes on some of those core things that you guys said you're interested in learning about. So we'll cover like engagement rate, like showing you how you can increase your engagement rate to be able to have like a really successful post and what you can do to do that. I'll also share some tips on how you guys can grow your Instagram sustainably without having to drop off or just being one of those person who posts like 5 times a day, hoping that eventually it's going to make it rain. And then we'll also talk about algorithms. Like they're constantly changing. Like, what is this process? Like how can we understand like how to actually capitalize on these algorithms? Is there a place we can go to learn why they change? And what's the easy thing? Because look, you guys we're all busy, right? This would take a lot of time. Even being here, some of you are having to sacrifice different various items to be here. I know, both Scott and myself are. So I'm going to show you guys a simple way to do all of this without having to, work another 40-hour job. So if that sounds interesting, can you guys just give me a nod or give me a yes in the chat? Awesome. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen, Scott, if I can.
Yep, made it shareable.
Sweet. And I'm going to walk you guys through this. So this is the let me just make sure I'm doing this right. This desktop over here. 2. Awesome. All right. So this is the outline for how to build $1 billion brand without spending $1 billion. Who here has $1 billion? I sure wish I did. Obviously we don't. So let's find a way where we can build that $1 billion brand without having to spend $1 billion. So I'm a big believer in how you do anything is how you do everything. So just make sure hey, if you're playing Candy Crush at the same time as doing this, put that away, put your kids in the other room. Looks like you guys are all good though. So we'll just move on. So my goal today is to be able to share with you how you can obtain a money tree that prints out what I believe is the most valuable currency in history. It might be Bitcoin, it might be the US dollar, it might be the Chinese yen, but we're gonna cover that. So here's my promise. You're gonna learn how to obtain this money tree that spins it out, all right? And we're gonna cover 3 main things, all right? So we're gonna talk about how one group of boys made $23.5 million in 30 seconds using this strategy. I'm gonna show you guys how you can become a best-selling author, have a top-rated podcast, and interview celebrities in less than 12 months from today. And I'm also gonna show you how you can network with billionaires and celebrities as a peer using this strategy. All right. Sounds interesting?
Yes.
So what is the most valuable currency of the world? Anyone have an idea?
Personal brand.
Personal brand ties into it. Anyone else? Is it Bitcoin? Is it the US dollar? It's
Attention.
right?
Attention. Yeah.
Why is this? Attention is what drives action towards your business. And so using attention, I mentioned just a moment ago that a group of boys, about 20 in their 20s, made $23.5 million in 30 seconds with this strategy. And anyone know what this is?
No.
So yeah, so it's an NFT. And NFTs big right now, crypto is blowing up. But it's Full Send. So Full Send is a group of these 20-year-old YouTubers. They go out and they party and they drink and they have fun. Well, about a month ago, they launched an NFT to their audience. They've got 5 million subscribers on YouTube, and it sold out in 30 seconds, netting them over $20 million in profit.
Jesus.
And so if anyone wants to come to me and say, hey, attention is not valuable, I'd rather have some Bitcoin. Well, I'd rather have their audience size. And in fact, while some of you might not know what Full Send is, I bet almost everyone on this call knows about these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows who these are, Shark Tank, right? Why do we know? There's been hundreds of millions of dollars pumped behind these guys' brand. It's an ABC television show. It's one of the most watched television shows in history. It's one of the most popular shows of our age. Well, what if there was a way for you guys to have the perceived level of authority that all of these guys have for much less than hundreds of millions of dollars, and you can develop it in less than 12 months? So let's break down what that is. So these guys, if you go to their social media pages, they've all got roughly about 1 million followers or so, right? Now, for a brand that has hundreds of millions of followers pumped into their brand, or hundreds of millions of dollars pumped into the brand, you'd think they're a pretty well-established brand. But there's people out there that are able to create this perceived level of authority using different strategies. There's people out there, and I'm sure you've seen them before, who you sure as heck know is not famous, but somehow they have millions of followers, right? Well, there's a way to do it, and there's a way to ethically do it too, that allows you to get there. But what's cool is when you create this, you can create a perceived level of influence that draws earned opportunities to you, right? So rather than having to, seek out opportunities, when you are a shark, these guys get offered massive opportunities all the time. So whether it's your brand, whether it's a company you work with, or your personal brand, you're able to develop this using some of the strategies I'm going to talk about. so what this creates for you is we have clients that we've done this kind of stuff for. I'm gonna show you ways you can do it on your own that have become best-selling authors, have had top-rated podcasts, and have done speaking tours all across the country without having to be as big as these guys. So, so real quick, are you guys tracking right now? So like these guys generated millions of dollars with attention. These guys had millions of dollars powered behind them and have a brand, but I'm going to show you how to do it all without having millions of dollars. So there's a few different ways you can do this organically. One of you guys, I think it was Adam, mentioned, or Alex. Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, Alex. No, we're
Alex-
not doing 5 times a day.
Yeah, Alex said that he doesn't want to post frequently. So there's ways you can do this. Now, if you're posting the right kind of content, like some of the ladies talked about, which was Reels, and Will, you talked about this as well. Reels is extremely important because right now, TikTok has blown up. And what's happening is Instagram's in this war now where they're trying to compete with TikTok. And so what they're doing is they're powering a whole bunch of energy behind Reels. So when you post a Reel, there's times where you could have 0 followers, you could have 100 followers, and a Reel would get 4,000 or 5,000 views. Well, what's happening? What's happening is Instagram's trying to push this content out and find an audience for it. And because, and they're throttling all other types of content. So if you're sitting here posting feed content, just photos constantly, you're actually missing one of the biggest opportunities in social media history because the algorithm is not pushing this stuff out. Now, the good news for those of you that are like, how do I keep up with algorithms? If you just post good content at a frequent rate, between 3 to 4 times a week, you'll never have to worry about algorithms. The reason why is algorithms are always changing. It's kind of like the stock market. People who try to time the stock market, right? They end up losing out in the long run. They've done studies on this. But for the people who just consistently, dollar cost average their stocks, are at the end of the day going to make more money. And so that's what's really, really critical here is if you just, if you dollar cost average your post by posting good content consistently over a long period of time, you're never going to lose out on algorithms. Another thing you could do is social growth. So what a lot of people do is if you can have a team, like I know some of you work for some companies, if you guys are the team that's powering the social media, direct outreach is one of the most powerful things that you can do. What some people do is they'll be finding like accounts similar to theirs, and they'll go out and direct message them, 10, 20, 30 messages a day from the page. Well, what happens for some of you that may have done this before, eventually your social accounts will get throttled, right? Mm-hmm. So after 25 messages, has anyone experienced that before? You send like 25 messages, right? And so they throttle you. So what you can do instead is you can create 5 or 10 sub accounts that all point back to your main account and do direct outreach from all the sub accounts. What you're going to do is, let's say you have 10 sub accounts. You just create, 10 different Instagram accounts. Let's say the name of your the business you work with or your business is called, Scott's Chiropractic, let's call it Scott's Dentistry, whatever it is. Create Scott's Dentistry 1, Scott's Dentistry 2, Scott's Dentistry 3, and then in the bio, you tag the main page. And so then when you go through, you're going to actually be DMing people and saying, hey, I figured you'd like this page. Why don't you go follow them, tag a post, and that way you're going to be able to 10x your output very simply.
Really interesting. So you're saying when you create the 5 to 10 sub accounts, message from those accounts, if those accounts get throttled, it doesn't hurt the main brand.
It doesn't hurt the main brand, and you're multiplying your output, right? Because you could still do the outreach from the main page, but it could negatively affect it. But right. If you're doing it from the sub pages, in theory, it could be anyone doing it. It could be some stranger. So Instagram's not going to throttle you for that.
Right. And so you could I got you. And so you could potentially have a virtual assistant or whatever, do 5 to 10 a day. Now, if you're doing, let's say you're just doing 5 a day from 10 accounts, that's 50 outreaches a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So we actually have teams that we've set this up for that are doing this exact same strategy, but in like mass scale. So we can have 100 accounts doing 100 messages each, and we're getting 1,000 connects a day, which is pretty impressive.
And you may be sharing this, so forgive me. I'll ask, are you going to go over what those messages should say or how to approach that? Because that sounds like a fantastic task. If you're going to talk about the messaging, what specifically they should say in their message.
Yeah. So I'm not going to cover that specifically, but what I'll do is,
Can I also ask, like, if I want to get in touch with Scott, let's say that Scott was, let's say that I want to get in touch with Mark Cuban, and I have 5 sub accounts, and I mean, am I going to name them all like Adam Journo 1, Adam Journo 2, and then we're going to say, hi Mark, follow me. Hi Mark, follow Adam Journo. Hi Mark, have you seen this guy Adam Journo? Or am I going to really be even more repetitive? Follow Adam Journo, follow it, and he's just going to get this 50 times, and his VAs are going to be like, get the hell away from me.
So there's levels to everything, Adam. Alex, sorry. And was that Alex or Adam?
It was me,
Okay, cool.
Adam.
Appreciate it. Your guys' heads are right next to each other for me, so sorry about that. But yeah, Adam. So here's the deal with that. You're not going to be connecting with Mark Cuban doing this. You're going to be connecting with your customers doing this, or your clients or your ideal people. The way you'll be able to connect with larger people is as you build more of that credibility and establish your brand, you'll be able to connect with larger people. So let me give you an example. There's a girl who's a friend of mine. She's got 10 million Instagram followers. She's got 10x the size, or about 9x the followers as Daymond John, right? But she's about maybe 1% as famous as him. So how is that possible? She used social growth methods like what we're talking about to grow that page to that size. Now, when she reaches out to people like Daymond John, she's actually perceived as like having more authority than him. So if you're coming in from a page with 5,000, 10,000, even 100,000 followers, you're going to have a struggle to connect with these people because there's no level of credibility. But if you can, over a period of time, build up that perceived level of authority, your ability to connect with these type of people becomes much easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, so me and my 36 followers, we're a powerful bunch. Anyway, please continue.
Let me offer this, Dylan. I think I understand you. So let's say that, okay. So for me, for Scott Impringham, if I wanted to connect with EOers and accelerate the rate, I'm connecting with people that are in EO. Theoretically, I could create 5 to 10 sub accounts and then go after, say, the EO Las Vegas, EO San Diego, EO LA, and the followers of that, and reach out to them, direct message them from those sub accounts and say, hey, I see that you're an entrepreneur. You should check this guy out, and then link back to the original Scott Impringham page as an example. Is that right?
Yeah. So there's 2 strategies to do it, and I'll show you specifically why it's so powerful. So there's one, you can literally create accounts like Adam 1, Adam 2, Adam 3, Adam 4, or you can create accounts that are like look like real accounts, but they're actually owned by you, and they could be like motivational goals page, right? And basically like it could just be a feed of like random business luxury type posts, and then and I'll show you an example so it makes sense. But then that page is doing outreach on your behalf, and it seems more organic. Like, hey, I thought you might like this page, rather than go follow my other page.
Right. Adam 1, Adam 2, Adam 3. So for Bill, this is a bunch of jewelry.
This is one of my company's agency blogs. We've got roughly 75,000 followers, and we've got 4,000 customers, like real customers. So how is that? Well, we did this kind of method to grow this page. I'll show you if I go to my notifications here, you can see I have 47 story mentions for the day. What that means is 47 other accounts tagged our business page in a story of theirs. What those are 47 of the accounts that we run that are doing outreach on our behalf. So if I go in here, these are all the people that are reposting my story. Well, they're all accounts we own. See this? I'm just tapping through. So I have, and if I go to one of the accounts, this one's, let's see here. It's literally just a blank page that has, it's called Success Alpha on it. So, it's nothing special. It's just a really simple pitch. And this creates a mass amount of people following me, but more importantly, people actually messaging me. So over the last 48 hours, I've probably had 15 potential clients DM us saying they're interested in our services, all from this. So if you're doing you have a service-based business, this is huge. If you're someone who's looking to like have that high level of like a personal brand, there's other strategies that I'm going to break down that are more powerful. Make sense?
So you're amplifying your own voice by creating sub accounts of yourself and say, I mean, are you literally, wait, are you literally saying of the you got 4,000 legitimate customers and you got 75,000 followers, how many of your followers are actually you?
Well, not many of them. A lot of them are people, maybe like 3,000 or 4,000 of them are accounts that we created over the last year and a half. But the important thing is that we're getting eyeballs on our stuff.
Right.
So let's say there's 50 accounts, they're all doing 50 messages a day. If everyone's that got a message saw the message, it'd be 2,500 impressions. If it was, let's say, half, which is kind of where we're at, we're getting about 1,250 impressions from that 50 accounts per day. Right.
Okay. And then is there software that's like, maybe Zoho does this, I don't know, but is there software for you to say, put out this message, basically to manage it? Cause you can't really have, or it'd be difficult to have people typing into 3,000 or 4,000 accounts, messages that are going to go out, right? I mean, isn't that tough to manage?
Yeah. So it depends on the scale. So like for us, we do it at such a large scale that we've actually developed our own software for this, to the point where we can send out hundreds of thousands of messages every week. And we also do the same method for our clients using software. Because that costs money, the free way to do it that I'm kind of sharing is a method that anyone can do just by creating their own accounts. But you could do it by having a lot of virtual assistants, or you could do it by either coding your own software or working with an agency like us that has coded the software.
So, sorry to just jump in, but, I've made a lot of support accounts and I've done a lot of, consistent video posting. I think it's valuable content that, gets an emotional reaction early, or a hook early. And I'm just having difficulty with traction. I think, I thought on TikTok it was because I was a business account. So I tried on Instagram to, upload my stuff to Instagram. And my overall growth and view is just like nothing. I mean, on my podcast, it's exploding, on, Spotify, but it's like everywhere else, social media wise, I'm not seeing those results. And I'm really focusing in on the details and aspects to have that positivity. When do you think is a time for somebody to jump from trying to do this themselves to jump into an agency like you? And, when is that investment pay off in your thought? I know it's, obviously a good investment, but is that something that you're going to see initial response right away? Like, kind of bootstrap it out there and get going? Or what do you think, not to throw too much at you, sorry.
No, that's a good question. I love 10 questions in one because it gives lots to unpack. So let me show you. So I'll give you an example and then we'll talk about ROI, because ROI is what one of the most important things people care about, right? Am I getting a return on my investment, but also ROTI, right? Which I'm sure some of you have heard of, right? Your return on your time investment, which is, I believe, more important. So Damon John here, this is kind of his content structure. Dude, he's doing nothing special. The reason, like, his content, honestly, content's like, it's okay. But he's like, he already has the attention, so he doesn't have to work on it as much. Then let me show you one of our clients we work with. His name is Derek Keeney. We grew him from like 400 followers to 130,000. We got him verified. This is the blue check mark. We got him verified. We got him seen on CNBC, Fox, CNN, like the news stations. And because of us, he's now a Wall Street Journal bestselling author and a USA Today bestselling author. He's interviewing guys like John Ashraf and massive people in the business space on his podcast, and he rolled out his book. Now, None of this existed 12 months ago.
Wow, I was able to do it in 12 months.
Mhm. And it was through our initial building of the perceived credibility, right? So helping him grow the followers through some follower grow methods we do with all real people. But we kind of start with a lower quality of follower, sometimes international, because people don't really care what you have to say until they think you're worth like listening to. So you have to build a baseline, which is 10K for we believe is 10,000 based on our data and analytics of the 3,500 other clients we've done this on. Is 10,000 is like the base you got to start at. And then after that, you can do more targeted methods because people will be attracted to you. And then we started, being able to take that and say, look, this guy's got 100,000 followers. He's verified. He's written a book. Can we have him on your podcast? And then you want to be on his podcast? And then we can take that and we started asking TV shows, like news stations, do you guys want to have him on your show? Right. So there is levels to it, but this is entire growth in 12 months. If we go back, you'll see like before we started, let me keep scrolling here. If he even has those posts still up, you can see these posts that we're getting for him have like thousands of likes on them, lots of comments. Here's a photo of his dog, got 2,000 likes and 18,000 views. And if we scroll back, if he has the content still from before we started working with him, I don't know if he does or not, you'll see a massive drop off. Here we go. 11 likes, 91 likes, 131. Looks like we helped on some previous posts as well. But my point being that I want to get before, let's see.
Where it's like 4?
Like nothing, literally nothing.
Yeah.
Here we go. So here we are, right? So there's like no engagement. You can see 29 likes, 54 likes, 300 views, 29. Like this stuff all has nothing because this is before we started working with him. And his content was, not as good, but now it's much better. So this is like real life example. But then the question is like, all right, cool. Like, he's got this. How does it create a return on investment, right? So let's talk about that. So one of the things people always think about when it comes to return on investment is what I'd call direct ROI, right? This is really common in like the advertising world. You put $1,000 in, you want to get like, at least $2,000 out, depending on your cost, like the COGS and all that stuff. So that's like direct ROI. But that's what everyone seems to want. But what people really, really need is what's considered indirect ROI. So what are the indirect benefits that come from having a better levels of authority and credibility, right? And so what I believe is much more powerful is the indirect ROI. It's a typo right here. So it's not measurable, and it's only possible with a personal brand or a well-defined business brand. So for example, let's say Derek gets invited to come speak at an event because now he has the brand to back it up. And he meets someone in the green room who has, is able to give him opportunities, or they end up working on something. Those are non-measurable indirect benefits of having that personal brand. Now I keep saying personal brand. Business brands are also important, but I personally feel that personal brands are much more powerful because it's kind of like a college degree, right? What do they say about them? It can never be taken away from you, right? And it's the same thing. Let's say like Scott. Scott's been in different business cycles. Had his last business he did before this been all about Scott, he wouldn't have had to restart over because it follows you everywhere you go. And this is why I think it's critical for CEOs of organizations to be building their personal brand while at the same time running their company. Because if something changes, you sell the company, you still have the asset. You're not selling the asset of your personal brand to the buyer of the company. And even if you work for a company, right? Like it's important for you to have that. Personal brands are also much more sticky, Will. So if you're Will the jewelry man, it's going to be more sticky than LA jewelry. Trust me.
It's very true, Dylan. I think about my past company. I think, and I didn't really make a distinct and specific focus on building my personal brand, but I was out there in front so often that I ended up being in front of the camera. I ended up being comfortable with that. So I did it as a byproduct. But had I not done that when everything shut down in 2018 and reinvented, I would have been in much bigger trouble because people did know me. Bill is a perfect example. Bill and I developed a friendship, and he knew me from social. I knew him from social. It's a very good example. So great point, Dylan. I agree.
Cool. Any questions on that so far? ROI. Yes, you can get a direct ROI through kind of the things we talked about, like those clients coming and messaging. But to Adam's point, the big thing happens through the indirect ROI. That's created as, you know, an additional benefit of what the work you're putting in.
What advice would you give, Dylan, for somebody who is reluctant to build their personal brand, who's fearful for whatever reason or concerned for whatever reason?
If you don't want to, you don't have to. That's it. Like you can there's like 3 options. One, you can just suck it up and build a personal brand. There's a lot of people who didn't want to do that have had it become massively successful, right? Think about this. When we think of Tesla, what do we think of? Elon Musk. When we think of Apple, what do we think of? Steve Jobs. When we think of Microsoft, what do we think of? Bill Gates, right? When we think of Amazon, what do we think of? Jeff Bezos. Like all these, the most successful companies that exist today, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, right? It's closely, directly tied to a big figure. And that's not an accident, because it's more sticky. People relate to it more. It can still be its own separate entity. Bill Gates does a million things. Like people don't even know what Warren Buffett's investment firm is called. They just know Warren Buffett, right? And that's the key thing, is like it's more sticky. People relate to it better. And so for those of you that maybe don't run a company, you're working in a company, this is an important conversation to have with, you know, the leadership team of the organization you work with. This, like, if the owner, the CEO, the doctor is willing to do this stuff, it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
But what if they're absolutely not going to do it? Okay, well, you have 2 other paths then. One, you can find a spokesperson who can become the figure, or 2, you can just find ways to make your brand more personable, having lots of people in it, making sure that the staff is videoed in it, you know, having team members on the team take videos and act in reels and stuff like that. And then you get the benefits of it, right? So just a few benefits I'll list off. Sometimes I've gotten offers for strategic allocation of stock and equity in companies just because I have the brand. I've gotten first dibs at events and first right of refusal with projects. You get to go to cool stuff for free, and you get, like, you know, travel and all that stuff. So the question at this point most people would ask is like, all right, makes sense, but how does this tie into my business, right? And so here's just a few points, and then we'll dive into some more Q&A and talk about a few other items. Gary Vaynerchuk built his company's VaynerMedia, Wine Library, his crypto project VeeFriends, all because of Gary, right? And he can transfer that to anything else he wants in the future. You're always going to be who you are, but you won't always be doing what you're currently doing. When you build a persona around your brand, you're not building a brand that at some point will reset and start over. You're building something that's going to stick with you forever. So I just wanted to, like, really nail that point in, and how important it is to be building a person around the brand. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, 100%.
Cool.
Are you tracking, Adam?
So what I want to know is, so Adam, for example, what kind of business are you in?
You're talking about Adam, not Alex, right? Because
I'm talking about Adam. Yeah.
all right, cool. So I own a real estate business. It's primarily property management. While you were talking, I was listening and I pulled up my followers. We've been focused primarily on LinkedIn, where over the past 30 days, so Nina is my head of marketing, and over the past 30 days, Nina has increased our Facebook following, no, our LinkedIn marketing by 122%, and now we're nearly at 200 followers. But it really took a while. Like, Nina had to research what's the best way to get people to follow us on LinkedIn, and she did, and it was tremendously successful. I mean, when I crossed that 100 followers mark, I was like, woohoo. And now I need to, we're going to work on getting me bigger.
Got it. So you guys, is it primarily B2B, or you guys, like, what's your ideal client?
Okay, our ideal client is a New York City landlord who owns more than one property. And sometimes that is an investment fund. So we manage for investment funds, but sometimes it's also just somebody who inherited a bunch of buildings or even a handful of buildings from their parents.
Got it. Okay. So your ideal client is someone who has a portfolio. You can come in and you can optimize. Do you guys mainly do like large multifamily? You guys work in like
Yeah.
hospitality as well?
No, not hospitality. I mean, it's primarily landlords. The leases are, or the stays are, let's say, a year, not a night, not a week. New York City has really strict laws around that. And it's people who don't want to know their tenants' names. They don't want to know if their tenants are hot or cold. They want us to know those details, and they're like, you handle it. I want to see money in my account, and I want to take out deduction. I want to take out distributions monthly, quarterly, or annually. Go for it.
So this is one really interesting opportunity when it comes to stuff like this, because like for you, it's like, you know, all right, Instagram, do I really need that? Right. You know, I don't, you know, my New York City trust fund baby with $1 billion portfolio isn't going to be necessarily scrolling Instagram to look for his new property manager. And or maybe he is, I don't know.
No, well, let me tell you something that came up recently. We handle some brokerage, meaning we handle selling a few of the apartments from the condo and co-op associations, and we're trying to get more into that, right? And so in order to start building that, we priced ourselves really cheaply because I control the pricing for my company. And when things were not taking off for this client, like they weren't getting any offers initially, they were like, hey, you know, I just saw that you only have like 30 followers on Instagram, and, you know, Corcoran or Compass, you know, they have so many followers that they'd be able to push this out to. So it does matter.
Yeah. And so again, this is where indirect ROI comes in, because while the direct ROI may not be there, Instagram is kind of like the modern day landing page. People, or like the website, right? People might not go directly to it and become a client, but they're going to like background check you and kind of see what your presence is like. But one of the best examples I know of ways, especially the real estate industry has been able to benefit from this, is a guy named Grant Cardone. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that I started listening. I'm listening to the 10X rule, which I think is him. But that is the book I'm listening to right now.
Cool. Yeah. Great book. I read that maybe 10 years ago when I was 19 or 17. But he just recently surpassed $1 billion in money raised for his fund through social media. And so if anyone ever says like, hey, like this doesn't translate to business, his client isn't a 27-year-old that's using social media. His clients, you know, wealthy accredited investors, but he's been able to draw and attract that to him. And Grant Cardone now is like the go-to person for that. So whether, you know, you personally want to build the personal brand or not, there's massive opportunities in, you know, every vertical for this. So one question that I think a lot of times people are wondering is like, at what point does it make sense to like work with a firm, right? Like I can build an in-house team, I can save money, you know, I can hire virtual assistants and people overseas to be able to do a lot of work for me. But at what point does it make sense to like, you know, work with a firm? And I think the turning point that, you know, we see for most of our clients is they're looking for like the fast track. It's something that can work in tandem with the team they currently have to be able to like expedite the results. So Nina, for example, it sounds like she's done a really great job building the LinkedIn. So I applaud you. That's awesome. You've been able to basically double what was there before in a short period of time. That's fantastic. Great job. One of the great things about having someone as resourceful as her is that she's able to do the research and actually understand this stuff. Now, when you work with a firm, they have Ninas on their team who've done it before, and you don't have to pay Nina for 3-4 months to figure it out. they've done it every step of the way. And so they get to work alongside Nina and help them. And so like for us personally, like our team, we built the software that does the mass messaging, right? We know how to build, like you look at my LinkedIn for Agency Box, we've got, I think probably 5,000 LinkedIn followers. Again, we've got 4,000 customers. How's that possible? This is what we do. And so, I can share it as much as I can share on what's, able to be implemented here. But I think if if anyone's looking to fast track it, that's when you'd start looking for different firms to do it for. Does that make sense? Does that answer that question that you had earlier on?
Yeah.
Will, tell me a bit about your jewelry company you're trying to start or build, sorry.
No worries. Thanks. We're in the process. My website's just about set. I have another month of coding because it's very complex. There are a number of different products that my wife and I are in. She's a professional bodybuilder, so she has a niche where she's well known on both coasts. We did business in LA and really took her hobby from 2018 to where this year we said, I'm going to leave the corporate world. And with everything that I've learned in marketing, I said, we're going to grow here. She just wants to be the creator. So I said, okay, I need to have a call to your point earlier, which is great. I need to have a call to action when I post. I need to be able to link to go to the website like when it's ready, because I do reels and try to do them like every other day, creative reels, not the same thing. Because I go back and I look and go, I look at other people's reels and I try to look and see what is popular or how that reel is done as far as a style. So my goal is to continue to work on this. And when I heard recently there was an algorithm change, I said, okay, I know short videos are really popular, but is there really something else that I'm missing? And I try to do 6 to 8 stories a day. I try to do stories a day during different things, even if they're mundane things. And I just want to be sure that I'm still on the right track because I don't know when the algorithm is going to change again. And so hopefully I try to do stories. I try to search for popular music to attach to the story. Some of them are videos. I mean, the story I'm going to do today is going to be a survey, on 2 different bracelets that I'm wearing. To try to get that interaction that you speak of on it. So it's just not a passive, somebody just clicking, oh, okay, I vote, top one or bottom. So I just want to be, is this still relevant in the Instagram world? The interaction with stories throughout the day, is that still relevant or am I going the wrong way?
Yeah, I love questions that where there's 10 questions in one because it's a lot to unpack. I feel like a robot. I'm just joking, but okay. It's awesome. So like the question you're really asking is what the heck's happening in the social media realm and how do I stay on top of it? And so to answer that question, I want to go back to like that earlier thought, which is like, as long as you're consistently, because I can tell you what's working today because I know, but if I tell you what's working today, it might not be working tomorrow. So what I'll tell you has worked. I'll give you a very simple system that you can implement that has worked for the last 4 years, and I believe will continue to work forever. And it's by turning your social media into a soap opera that people want to be a part of. So with this simple strategy, people will become so engaged with your content that Instagram will be forced to promote it to more and more people because it's doing what no one else is able to do. Okay, so the way you do it is you have 3 stories, 3 stories around your brand, you or your brand, and each and 3 times a week you post on your story. Sorry, so three narratives, because I don't want to confuse it, not stories. 3 narratives that follow your brand throughout time. Each one of them is tied to some kind of goal where you want to get to. So let's say you want to get your jewelry. Let's say you're a purpose-driven organization, and for every piece of jewelry someone buys, you give jewelry to a third world country. I don't think that's your mission, but hypothetically, let's say that's what it was. Yeah. One of your goals for the organization is I want to donate 1 million pieces of jewelry. So what you would do, that's one of your narratives, is people know that Bill is the guy that's on a mission to donate a million pieces of jewelry. So then the story for the day would be, on Monday would be, hey, what's up, guys? I was so excited to be able to come Monday morning on here and tell you guys that we are 100 pieces closer to our mission to donate a million pieces of jewelry. Now, that would be like a standard narrative. Now,
Okay.
There's one way to take it even further. And I'm sorry if I'm going too fast here, but I want to break this down.
No. That's good. Making notes.
Cool. So there's when it comes to your narratives, it's actually a 4-step process on how you're going to share your narrative. So step 1, it's just like a typical story. It's called a story arc, is what it is. So 1 is inciting incident. 2 is raise the stakes. 3 is resolution, and then 4 is clear outcome and winner. It's the brand story. It's been used. It's the story arc has been used by best-selling movies and stories over history. So let me give you an example, guys. So remember, our mission is to donate $1 million or a million pieces overseas. Hey guys, you'll never believe that we were making so much progress in our mission to donate 1 million pieces of jewelry. But today, this is the first story, right? It's a 4-star story piece. This is 4 of your stories for the day. But today I realized that we just got hit back 50% or something like that. And then it's like, I never thought this would happen. This is one of the most, disappointing days in history. And then you go on, and so we're building up the anticipation in the first 2 stories. Story 3, now we're going to have a resolution. Honestly, this stuff should be frivolous. It shouldn't matter. It's like, you'd be like, my wife just told me that she wants us to add in all these new pieces of jewelry, and I don't know how I'm going to manage the business with all this stuff. And then it's like, but at the end of the day, happy wife, happy life. And, that's all that matters, right? It's frivolous, but get them excited, and then, the story's over. So 3 different stories for your brand or business. One's the mission to donate. Maybe story 2 is your wife is always, adding new stuff to the business. That would be like another story. And story 3, it could even be like her fitness journey and how she likes to wear jewelry at the gym, and you always try to get her to wear it or something, but she never does because she works out. So I don't know. So it's just like 3 stories that you do over and over. You post one of them on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday, and that's it.
Okay.
In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning, and then it becomes a soap opera that over time people tune in for and watch you like a TV show. And then at the end of the day, after those 4, they'll be more likely to see the other stories you're posting. And that's
okay.
it.
Great. Thank you. I love the specific tactics. Thanks.
Yeah.
Look, clarifying question too. That's really interesting. So that's within the context of the stories. Is that right, Dylan?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you suggesting those four steps, inciting incident, raise the stakes, resolution, clear outcome? Is that across the week, or is that in one day around one mission?
Yeah. So one mission, one day, you do that 3 separate times each week.
I see. One mission, one day.
So one mission, 4 stories on Monday. And then you go into mission 2 with 4 different stories on Wednesday. And then mission 3, 4 different stories, 4 different, stories on Friday. And then you repeat the next week.
I freaking love that.
That's great.
And then it comes, the question is like, okay, what do I post in my feed, right? That's stories. What do I post in my feed? So the feed is, I'll give you guys like the 30-second version of it. You guys want to, most important things to do in a feed: establish credibility, build connection, and identify what you do. Okay. So establish credibility, build connection, identify what you do. So one way that a lot of companies are doing this successfully is they're different posts. So like basically you want to almost like alternate between these. So a credibility post is if you're someone like Scott, credibility post would be a photo of Scott and Scott and Bill Gates, right? And then he talks about how he met Bill Gates. That or a video, even a video of him talking about Bill Gates builds credibility. Because if you can put authority figures on your feed, it's going to make people think that you're tied into closely to authority. Okay, it's hitting on that authority, that ethos. All right, and then you want to go into connection, right? And so with connection, this is where you can be vulnerable, you can show humility, and you can talk about, if you're doing reels, you can talk about, the people behind the brand, the people that the company's helped, the mission of the company, things that make it more relatable. The biggest problem that companies make, organizations tend to make when it comes to social media, this is the number one biggest problem, is they try to be too perfect and have this ideal image. Well, what's the big problem with that? There's no connection, no relatability. How often do you see, companies that are up and coming, like a dentist office, show the transformation that they gave to one of their clients? It's very rare. You only see like the beautiful smiles. But when you do see the transformation, sometimes you end up crying, right? Like if there's like a story of someone who came off the street and had a transformation. So, and then the third thing is you want to be able to explain what you do very simply and very brief, because people's attention span doesn't exist. But ideally, 80% of your content should be entertaining, educational, and 20% should be selling. And if you can get to that point, you have a really solid social media. And that's content.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I love that, by the way, credibility, connection, and identify what you do. Dylan, off the top of your head, we've got some people that are B2B and B2C on this. Can you talk about, okay, let's talk dentistry for a moment. For dentists, we've got somebody that we've got a couple companies that are on the dentistry side. Credibility, connection, and identify what you do. Can you talk about how they might be able to identify, or anything off the top of your head, how they might be able to creatively and authentically talk about what they do that might be appropriate for them? And they're a dentist in Honolulu.
Is someone a dentist in Honolulu here?
Yep.
Which one's that?
Where is she? Leica.
So how can a dentist in Honolulu? So I'll give you one example of all three of those. So how do you build credibility? What you can do is you can, how big is the practice, Leica?
We're in a orthodontic dentistry.
Okay.
How big is the practice?
Is it one office or many offices?
Only 2 locations.
2 locations. Both are in Honolulu.
Yeah.
And how many rooms are in each office? Like 5, 3,
Only
1? Oh, 1 in each. Okay, cool. So it's a small practice. So what you could do.
No, I think there's. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Scott.
I don't know if she understood. There's more, like, how many chairs? I think, is that what you're like? How many chairs in each office?
I think there's 4 or 5 chairs.
So we got 8 to 10.
Okay. So let's talk about connection. Connection, we kind of just talked about. You could share transformations. You could talk about the team behind it. You could talk about the dentist stories. You can share. It doesn't have to be a video. It could even just be, like a picture of like one of your clients, and then just a story talking about how the dentistry has transformed them. Ideally, we want to be using reels, but I understand reels sometimes are kind of more challenging to create. So that would be the connection, transformations, the stories of the staff, the narrative behind why it opened up. In fact, my dad's a dentist. My dad's dad is a dentist. And so naturally I was supposed to be a dentist. Well, guess what? I'm not. But one thing my dad did was he shared the origin story of his dad being a dentist, and then him becoming a dentist. And it created like this local feel that people wanted to go to my dad's practice. Okay. So if you can create that connection, it's really powerful. So that's connection. Then you want to be able to identify what you do. It's a dental office, right? Well, they're an orthodontist. So you can, just simply describe the benefits of having orthodontic work done to them, and show happy smiles. I mean, that stuff's great. And then into the credibility side, you want to talk about things that make you guys better than every single other dental office in the entire island, right? So what makes you guys better? I don't know what that is, but if you can establish that authority and that credibility that makes you guys different, it's going to be really, really powerful, because when someone goes to check you like they did with Adam, and they see that you have 6 followers, that's going to affect you negatively. But if they can go to your page and they can see some kind of credibility, maybe your dentist, maybe he works on celebrities. Maybe there's like one celebrity or two celebrity clients, and he can ask them for a photo one day, right? These are all the kind of things that establish that authority. Thanks, thanks, Scott, for the question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I can almost see Leica sitting down and saying, okay, I want 3 categories, and then brainstorming for just a little bit of time. What are 4 or 5 things we could do to build credibility? So she's not under the gun on every Monday to think off the top of her head, what can I do today? But maybe do you see value in maybe setting up these categories and have some brainstorming sessions with her team or herself, even, and coming up with 4 or 5 ideas for each, and then go out and build them up. And then, so she's got a library of these things. Is that something you'd recommend?
Yeah. So like at the next meeting you guys have about this, say, like Scott's amazing program that we're part of. I learned some awesome stuff, and I want to break it down. So according to the data that the speaker had after working with over 4,000 people on this stuff, he came back and said that there's 3 categories: connections, authority, and identification. And like, let's brainstorm different posts for each one, right? And you can use a Google sheet, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way down to 30 in the columns. And then that's the number of posts. If you're doing, like, let's say, a month's worth of content every day, or maybe you're doing 3 times a week, whatever it is, you just write 1 to 10 for 3 times a week, get a month's worth of content, and have, like, you just alternate each one. You write the idea, and then that's it. That's how my team does it.
Dude, I freaking love that idea. It's really solid.
Yeah,
Really
definitely.
solid.
I did want to ask Alex if you could share a little bit about what your business is.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt or jump in, but I feel I'm kind of in a unique position. This business has kind of evolved over 15 years. I was very heavily in corporate training and culture development. I would design onboarding training, policies, procedures, and culture at companies. I started at mortgage companies, a lot of other things. But when COVID hit, I lost all my contracts and went into one-on-one personal coaching. And that's also when I started with social media, because I'd never really used social media in the corporate world. I just went from connection to connection, referral to referral. But I'm having a lot of difficulty, not just really just consistently posting, because I have the Personality Movement, which is a company where I have a consistent message where, I try to find movers, I try to find warriors, and I try to find world changers, and I explain what those are. I teach the weapons of a warrior to become lethal against failure, and it's like different techniques and different things that helps you take a personality approach. That's really my niche. Is everybody who's successful writes a book about it, and then they publish that book. Everybody reads it. When they read that book, they walk away either thinking I'm inadequate or that person's a liar, because those books don't help everybody become successful like that person, because they have a different personality. So I help people take a personality approach. Now I do that one-on-one and with businesses. But I got the podcast, I got the World Changers NFT collection. That's so many different directions. And, it's really because my niche is for the modern day creator. It's about monetizing your passion, and so it's kind of unique. And I feel like it's so broad that it's hard for me to really pull into individual aspects. But now you've kind of inspired me, because now I can create all these separate accounts for all these different thought processes or all these different aspects of my one, umbrella company, and actually use it to build my engagement across the board, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I think you're developing a lot of processes, and you have the experience in the corporate side of training to be able to I think like create strategies and motivation and tactical stuff people can implement to get to their desired result. And it's like tying it all together in a way that is cohesive and makes sense is kind of like your next step.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. If I could provide any kind of unwarranted feedback that you didn't ask for, I'd be conscious of there's a gym I work with that they have their gym, they have the founder's page, they have a seasoning that they created, and then they have a merch brand. So there's 4 or 5 pages. And a laser only cuts when it's focused.
Yep.
The same things with social media and posting once every 2 weeks on each page for them. I said, scrap the seasonings page, scrap the merch page, just run the personal one because we got to build the personal brand and the gym page, and that's it. And so, even if you had all the scrambled, like non-cohesive thoughts on one page, I think it'll be more effective than having actually scrambling ideas on many pages. That's just my opinion on it, though.
I have different teams that are associated with different parts of the company, and they do build off each other. My personality warrior program for businesses and for one-on-one is the same thing, just one's corporate, one's personal. My NFTs are part of being a mover, a warrior, a world changer. So I have kind of tied it all together with how, it's not like I'm branching off in different directions. I just am at the point to where I think I need to talk to somebody like you. And some of the clients that I'm working with are at that point too. I'm working with a multi-million-dollar coffee company that's going to take over the world. They're phenomenal. They let women bring their children to work if they can't find sitters. It's Exit 11 Coffee. They're just like unbelievable. And they post all this stuff about how great they are, paying for yoga classes for their people, for, organic coffee that's roasted in the United States. They have like so many hot buttons, and I'm just not getting the traction with them either. And I have another social media person on them. It's just like your information is just so much more clear. And I think I'm just at a point where I need to take that step and go from mom and pop approach to more of a, a program approach. So, I really think I might need to talk to you about that. And maybe, I can pay you to do a review of my social media currently and my current perspective. You can check out my site, you can maybe give me some perspective that I just can't see because I'm inside the picture.
Yeah. We'll get Scott to distribute my info after for anyone that wants to get in touch. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing your story. I have your Instagram pulled up, Personality Movement, and
I just started on social media, and Instagram is like I just overflow my TikTok videos to there. But
I see that. Anyone else got any questions before we kind of wrap up here pretty soon? Awesome.
All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, what we'll do, Dylan, is thank you so much. What I'm going to do is we're going to take this recording. I'm going to convert it to Vimeo, drop it on our private page. I'll include all of Dylan's information. I'll tag you guys I'll tag as many of you as I can. I think I got everybody. I'll tag you guys, but just check the private page here in the next 45 minutes or 30 minutes. And we'll have this in with Dylan's information. Feel free to reach out to him. And I can tell you, as long as I've been doing this, I learned a bunch of stuff today. I'm really, really appreciative. He gave me a bunch of ideas. I got 3 pages of notes here that I can't wait to go back with my team and go and run with some of this stuff. Cause same. Alex got a bunch of pages of notes too. So, and it's funny as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, Bill could use it this way, and Leica could use it this way, and Nina could use it this way, and Adam could use it this way. So really great stuff. I really appreciate it. So thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, it was good to be here. Good to chat with you guys and all kind of get to know your current situation. And, I'm here as a resource if you have future questions on this stuff. So I appreciate it. And yeah.
Thanks, Dylan.
All right, guys.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. See you later.
All right. See you.